So, the moment of reflection before we go to lunch, your experience, how was it? How was it to be in curiosity about this? Yeah. And everybody, of course, mastered it, and you had to master it today, right? I can tell you that this little thing that you're playing with has evolved for me over the last 15 years. Yeah. This is not something that's just, I mean, it continues and continues and continues to evolve. Yeah. So it's not it's not like I'm, again, giving you a template. It's like, what are the processes? If I really look at the skeleton and I look at the shapes and the forms and where things have to go, if the line of force is going to be as pure as possible, I have to be able to three-dimensionally start to imagine that, and then ask, and then find out, and let my hands find and investigate and be. And how was it the conversation between you and the person? Isn't it lovely to just be in this, notice this and try this? No, it's a really nice way to be in dialogue with someone. All right. So, you're tall. Come and sit on the table for a moment. You. Yeah. Okay. So now she's sitting on the table, and she's sitting. If I took a rubber thing, I could match the shape of her spine. I can see where she's sitting. Is she stable over herself? Is she in a place where she can, are her legs and feet in the place where she could lift herself immediately? Does she have the length to herself that she could have? Now, it's funny, because I just watched her run across the street out there, and she has the really beautiful running form. She has a lightness and a litheness to her running that's really quite nice. Now, let's watch her first movement to come up to stand. Okay, so already we understand that as a Feldenkrais practitioner, she's demonstrated something to us that as a practitioner, she still hasn't quite embodied. That she's not organized, she didn't organize herself when she sat to be able to move to the next position. Yeah? Now, this is a very, very funny thing, but it won't be long before you're teaching awareness through movement classes. Yeah? And the question is the way that you present yourself, the way that you can speak, the way that you carry yourself, people are going to internally say, wow, if that's what the Feldenkrais method leads to, or wow, that's what it leads to, I want some of that. I'm willing to pay some of my discretionary funds to learn that for myself, which is different than if I sink in myself and I'm teaching my class and I'm kind of like this. And yeah. So again, these are questions, and it's a question to continue to look at. Well, what are the basic principles of the method? One of the basic principles is that I organize myself that from the next moment I can go to the next position without hesitation. Yeah. Now it doesn't mean that Feldenkrais didn't do it himself. That is not. There weren't moments when he sat. But even if I'm sitting here, I have the ability to go. The whole process from wherever I am has within it the capacity. Yeah, it's not a form, it's an ability to move through space based on how I can organize it. So now, just for the moment, let's watch you make the lift again, as if you're going to stand again. Okay? Did the scales bounce? The scales bounced. Yeah? Okay, it's fine. Now for the moment, please. Reach and place one hand on the floor between your legs. Now, it's very funny. In order for her hands to go between her legs, she has to do something really funny in her pelvis. Yeah? Now, please lift your pelvis away from the floor, from the table. Good. And come back again once or twice. Now, find out and pause above the table. 1/8 of an inch, a millimeter, pause. Now place the other hand on the floor and simply lift your pelvis. Lift it and put it down. That's it. You know, see that she's intelligent. She has to counterbalance herself. So she puts her arm out and makes it a longer counterbalance. It's fine. That's good. Now, slowly, can you find out how to make this movement? Now, to work with her, I'd have to put pads under her, and I would have to lift her pelvis a little higher, right? But what happened when I did this, but putting her hand between her knees? How did her feet change position? Where did her knees go? Her knees, and now put both hands on the floor. And put your feet a little wider if you want to. That's right. And put both hands on the floor. Now lift your pelvis. Now come back down. And I think you can, that's beautiful. Now just simply, that's it. Do it one more time. There, now you're finding how to, beautiful. Yes? Yes. Beautiful. Now please come and sit back and find where you're going to sit, how you're going to organize yourself. Oh, now where she does. Look, she places her sit bones back. She changes where her head is. She changes the relationship with her spine. Her legs have now found a new place in order to organize herself. And now come to standing from there. Beautiful. Significantly different. Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Again, these are parts of lessons. Now, I forgot to do that with Sylvia. I was going to do that at the end of the lesson with her. To remind her. Now this table's too tall for most of you, yeah? But again, the lessons have within it, they create the dynamics, but unless you understand the dynamic that's being created, it just goes away. But these lessons, if I put my hands on the floor between myself, first of all, to get my hands between my legs, I can't go out there. I have to do something in the way that I rotate my pelvis around the femoral head to put it here. Then if I'm going to lift myself, then I have to have some way in which I can organize that. That organization must be precise, because there's no way in the world that I can have my hands here and have my knees here. Right? So now I'm in a different place. Yeah? All right. So again, you can create the conditions in which a person can find these things and surprise them. Yeah? It's worthwhile to have a 25-pound kettlebell in your practice. You know what a kettlebell is? And you put it right between their legs, and you have them find the kettlebell and begin to lift it. Yeah? Because you can't take the kettlebell out there, but the resistance gives them a clue, and they can't do it there. Just ideas, yeah? Ideas in the way that you would work in your environment with people. All right, you had an observation about, if you don't mind.
Was this about speaking?
About speaking,
yeah. I thought it was interesting before that Jeff raised speaking, and that when he made that point to the two people he did, that they didn't look confused about what on earth he was saying. They just straight away did something with their bodies to give themselves more room in their chest, didn't they, Kevin? Yeah. And probably moved a little bit on their pelvis, I'm guessing. Yeah. Moved on their sit bones. And that just, I guess, just tells us that it's a resource that we've gained.
Yeah. The most important thing is that if I stay here, I stay in the habit by which the entire story has been maintained. However it came, I don't care about how it came. But if I'm going to take that something happened to me when I was 7 years old, and as a result of that, I'm uncomfortable speaking in a group of people. Yeah? Now, I'm no longer 7, and does this serve me for my life now? It's not going to serve me if I'm going to teach awareness through movement to the public. Yeah? So then the question is, if I now have a different referent that I can connect to, and I'm in a completely different neurological state, I am not in this story. Yeah? if I can have a clear enough sense for myself that I can find this connection to myself and have the breath that comes with it, and now enter into the conversation, it's different than being in the conversation from the way that the story continues to bring. And again, this is the potency of the method, that it's something that oftentimes people will take speech training, this training, go to the Dale Carnegie Institute, do thousands of hours of speaking practice, whatever it is, but it still doesn't lead them to the means that they can step into the environment with elegance. Yeah? So this is, you can play with this, yeah? You can talk to two people when you're talking to me next time. Well, give it a go. Stop it! She can tell me to stop it. Okay, yeah. But these, and again, you can ask for what you really want. What is it? How would I like to be with myself in these situations relative to any of the elements of the situation? The camera's on, the group's here, the microphones are here. How would I like to be? And what will it take for me to be connected to myself? And is there something in the practice that we've done that makes it possible that I can connect to something in me that's a resource? That's not the story. Yeah? All right. Something to play with. Yeah.
It seems to me, my experience has been that that's directly related to the process we've been doing, that to come up, you're coming from, the forces coming from the ground, from the movement of the femurs,
right.
Movement of the ankle, and then you're not doing so much work in the back, so the work is more evenly distributed.
Yes.
And
yeah.
it's easier to
right.
be taller.
It's easier to be taller. Remember, I read something from Body Immature Behavior, yeah, about training the tonic response before the phasic response. When that pure response, it's a lower brainstem response by which the musculature is just tonified to give us the greatest sense of lift, the most elegant place. When we're in that place, we're not in the habit that was formed by our history, by our heritage. It gives us a little tiny crack. Dennis called it a tiny little window into a moment of unadorned worldly engagement, where we're not bound by the way that the world conditioned us. And in that little moment, I'm sitting here not right and not left, I have the opportunity to turn to the left, turn to the right, open to the right and left as a third alternative. Have them both. Yeah? But I have that moment. Right. So you can play with the moment as it comes up. Choices. All right, thank you. Come back. We'll switch and then we'll have another ATM. There's a few more things to play with before you finally are relieved of. All right. Yep.